When you get behind the wheel in Kentucky or Ohio, the law says you have to carry car insurance. It's one of the first things we learn as drivers. We don't buy the insurance and we still drive. We subject ourselves to heavy fines, driver's license suspensions, and in cases where you're caught multiple times doing it, jail time. But have you ever stopped to ask why we are required to have insurance? Why is this one of the few things in life that government requires us to buy from a private company before we're even allowed to participate in everyday life? Today, I want to talk about that, not in a legalistic way, but in a human way, because this requirement sits at the crossroads of two truths that don't always sit comfortably together. Let's start with the simple part. Car insurance exists because driving is dangerous. Not maybe dangerous, but statistically, predictably dangerous. Every year, thousands of people in Kentucky and Ohio are seriously injured or killed on the road. Not bumps and bruises. I'm talking about life-changing injuries, spinal injuries, traumatic brain injuries, shattered bones, surgeries, months or years of recovery. And when someone is hurt like that, the costs are enormous. Medical bills, lost wages, long-term care, the emotional and physical toll on the person and their family. So the law says, if we're going to operate a 2-ton machine at high speeds, you need to be able to pay for the harm you might cause. You must buy insurance. That's the heart of it. It's about responsibility. It's about protecting the people we share the road with. It's about making sure that if someone's life is turned upside down, they're not left alone to deal with the consequences. And that part makes sense. It's a community value. It's fairness. It's accountability. It's responsibility. But here's where the story gets complicated. Because while the requirement is about protecting people, it also creates something else, a guaranteed customer base for the insurance industry bent on turning a profit. And brother, they turn a nice profit. Think about this. You can choose whether to buy a new phone. You can choose whether to subscribe to a streaming service. But you cannot choose whether to buy car insurance if you want to drive. The law makes that decision for you. And when millions of people are required to buy a product, that product becomes extremely profitable. Insurance companies collect billions in premiums every year in Kentucky and Ohio. And like any business, their goal is to keep as much of that money as possible. That's not an accusation. It's the business model. They profit when claims are low. They profit when payouts are small. They profit when injured people accept less than what they need or deserve. So we end up with this strange tension. We require insurance to protect people who are harmed, but the companies we are required to buy from profit by limiting what those harmed people receive. That's the part most people never think about until they're the one who's hurt. Let me give you a real world example. Imagine someone in Kentucky or Ohio is hit by a distracted driver. They'll rush to the hospital. They need surgery. They're out of work for months. Their life is completely disrupted. This is exactly the kind of situation the insurance requirement was designed for. This is why we all pay premiums. This is why the law mandates coverage. But when that injured person turns to the insurance company, the one the law forced the at-fault driver to buy from, the response is often, "We don't think your injuries are that serious. We don't think you need that treatment. We don't think your lost wages are our responsibility. That part of your body was already hurt. We're offering you a fraction of your medical bills." And suddenly, the very system that was supposed to protect them becomes the system standing in their way. The requirement protects the public. The business model protects the company. Those two things don't align. I'm not here to say insurance is bad. It's necessary. It's part of how we keep each other safe on the road. But we also have to be honest about the reality. The law requires us to buy a product whose financial incentives don't always match the purpose of the law. That's why injured people often feel blindsided. They did everything right. They followed the law, they trusted the system, and then the system treated them like a cost to be minimized. Understanding this tension doesn't solve it, but it does prepare you. It helps you see the landscape clearly. It helps you understand why the process feels so adversarial when you're the one who's hurt. And it reminds us of something important. Insurance exists because people matter, because lives matter, because when someone is harmed, they deserve to be made whole, not treated like a line item on a spreadsheet. So yes, Kentucky and Ohio require you to carry insurance to drive. And yes, that requirement protects all of us. But it also fuels an industry whose profitability depends on paying out as little as possible. That's the tension. That's the truth. And that's why, if you or someone you love is seriously injured, you need someone who understands both sides of the system. The part that's meant to protect you and the part that's designed to protect the company. Thanks for watching.